A trip to the movie theater for one couple turned into a deadly nightmare. This is the case of Curtis Reeves. This is Chad Oulson, born on September 28th, 1970 in Alton, Illinois. The retired Gulf War veteran worked at Sky Power Sports as a cell floor rep since he moved to Florida with his wife in 2007. Here's Curtis Reeves, currently age 79. He was a retired police officer with over 20 years in law enforcement. On January 13th, 2014, a Monday, Chad Oulson and his wife Nicole went to see the movie Lone Survivor at the Wesley Cobb 16th Theater in Wesley Chapel, Tampa, Florida. During the previews of the movie, Chad was using his cell phone to check on his 22-month-old daughter who was at daycare. This phone usage bothered Curtis Reeves, who was sitting behind Oulson in this theater next to his wife. Reeves then told Chad to turn his phone off, to which Chad replied, "No, the movie isn't even on yet." The two had multiple exchanges similar to the one just explained. Reeves decided to report Oulson to the theater management. Shortly after he got back to his seat, Chad grabbed Reeves' bag of popcorn and threw it back at him. Reeves then did the unthinkable, pulling a gun on Chad, shooting him in the chest, killing him and injuring his wife Nicole in the finger. Reeves was arrested after the shooting and charged with second-degree murder and aggravated battery. He was held without bail until July 2014, when he was released on $150,000 bail from the Land O'Lakes jail and placed on house arrest, required to wear an ankle monitor at all times. Now, 8 years pass until the trial occurs. This is for various different reasons, mainly based around the Stand Your Ground law. The 2014 definition of the Stand Your Ground law introduced two conclusive presumptions that favor a criminal defendant who is making a self-defense claim. The presumption that the defendant has a reasonable fear that deadly force was necessary, and the presumption that the intruder intended to commit an unlawful act involving force or violence. These two presumptions protect the defender from both civil and criminal prosecution for unlawful use of deadly or non-deadly force in self-defense. In addition, the defender has no duty to retreat, regardless of where he is attacked, so long as he is in a place where he is lawfully entitled to be when the danger occurs. In 2015, Reeves' attorney, Richard Escobar, motioned to dismiss the charges based on Florida's Stand Your Ground immunity law. In 2017, Judge Susan Barthel determined whether or not Reeves should be exempt from prosecution in this case. The motion was then denied after 2 weeks. This means his case would be tried before a jury on the charges of aggravated battery and second-degree murder. During the same year, in 2017, the state legislators changed the Stand Your Ground law to shift the burden of proof to prosecutors. Reeves' defendants then pushed for a new Stand Your Ground hearing based on the change. In 2018, his case was put on hold because of too much confusion surrounding the charges with the new law. In 2019, the Florida Supreme Court ruled that cases aren't retroactive, meaning Reeves wouldn't need to take his case to trial. In 2020, the trial was scheduled to start in January of 2021, but it faced multiple delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All of these setbacks only caused the Oulson family more pain and devastation. This now brings us to the official start of the trial in February of 2022. The incident from Reeves' point of view. From Reeves' point of view, he was a 71-year-old guy who could have been put out with a few good hits. He wanted to protect himself from Chad because he felt threatened and in danger. Reeves said that before the popcorn was thrown, Oulson threw his cell phone, hitting him in the head. Video of the incident does not show that occurring, and Reeves didn't have any injuries where he said he was hit. Witnesses testified they heard Reeves mumble, "Throw the popcorn at me," towards Oulson. Both men brought their wives with them to the theater that day, and they both had plenty to say in court. Nicole Oulson said the horrific event went like this, quote, Reeves was rude when he leaned forward to tell Chad to put his phone down. It felt demanding and like an order, she told the defense attorney. His whole demeanor, whole presence, the whole tone, everything about it did not sound friendly. Nicole said Reeves then left the theater, and when he came back, said something to the effect of, "You've put your phone away now, I see." And that's when things escalated. I remember feeling this should have been over, she said. Nicole sued the theater for allowing Curtis to bring a gun into a weapon-free public space. This didn't help the prosecution though, as she said Chad was the aggressor and that theater security should have stepped in. Curtis's wife, Vivian Reeves, said the story went like this. She described Chad as becoming enraged. "You told on me. Who the fuck do you think you are?" she quoted Chad. Vivian said she was trying to stay out of it and that she had turned away during the shooting and didn't see it. She did see before it occurred though, stating she saw Chad stand and lean over the seat towards her husband, thinking he was going to hit Curtis. Vivian was also interviewed in 2014 after the shooting and said Curtis never shot anyone in his 20 years in law enforcement, and that he must have felt extremely threatened to do so. On Friday, February 25th, 2022, after days of testimony and closing arguments, a jury of 6 men and women ages late 30s to early 60s found Curtis Reeves not guilty on all charges.